in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom, bada boom, ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right. Baby, let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
Is perfect for protect and provide. 100%.
Right.
Mr. Kosher, I want to talk about what does a strong and independent woman look like? Because a lot of us, myself included, walked around with that strong, independent, don't need no man mindset. And as I share multiple times on my channel, I was attracting a lot of feminine energy men that I'll call them. I'll attract men who will stay at my apartment, drive my car, don't pay a single bill, and then got frustrated with my dating patterns. But at the time, I didn't know that I was just so strong and independent and aggressive in my nature, my subconscious being. What does that look like on a woman?
I think a strong and independent woman is a woman that's a broken woman, a woman that's projecting her pain. Many times people that have been through trauma, Chantelle, some can develop what's called personality disorders. Now, I'm not saying strong and independent is a personality disorder. I'm not saying that. But the narcissistic trait that you see in some women really is just a way to protect a fragile ego. Their ego is very fragile. So they project something that they are not in order to more or less cover the deficit of pain that they went through the various cycles of their childhood. So a strong and independent woman really, in my mind, with some, is really a little girl crying out for security. Some of it is rebellion. Some of it is ignorance. And some of it is more or less projecting what's called matrilineal succession. That matrilineal succession is more or less negative socialization that she's seen from her mothers, from her grandmothers, her aunts, and maybe even her great-grandmothers. But it's a cycle of dysfunction that's more or less projected onto men. And see, what most women don't understand is this, Chantelle. Masculine men will not tolerate that kind of disrespect. Now, a cream puff will, but not a masculine man. Masculine men exude power. They tell you what they believe in. They don't lie to you. They keep it at 100. They tell you either you can follow the program or you can leave because they know that their time is very important. So more or less, to encase it in a nutshell, it's a very vulnerable woman, someone with a fragile ego, and perhaps someone that has not went through their successive stages of their psychosocial development in a nutshell.
Yeah, I do agree. I think even trying to overcompensate, and I'm strong, independent because I have my apartment, because you're doing the basic self-sufficient things that we're gonna dive into in a minute. Misunderstanding self-sufficiency for independence and then wearing that as a badge of honor. And I like Top Gun's super chat. Thank you so much. Strong and independent woman attracts son, which is, true. How can someone be aware that they're leading with that energy, even if they don't walk around? Because I didn't walk around saying, I'm strong, independent, I'm a boss. That was just the energy that I was putting out. And then, I was attracting as Top Gun says, the sons. How can one be aware that they are putting out that energy?
Well, many times men will tell you, the men themselves will tell you that you're projecting that energy. The question is, are you willing to hear what they're saying? Many times, Chantelle, in our society, in my best estimation, we tend to minimize the importance of what men say. Michael Jackson wrote a song back in the 90s. He said that they don't really care about us. And so when men begin to tell their story, many times it's either marginalized or it's met on deaf ears, or they're saying you're mansplaining. So masculine men that speak out, they'll say, listen, boo, your energy is masculine and toxic. But there's a subset of men that won't say anything. They just have sex with you, and they just get rid of it. They'll throw you in the trash can. They won't call you back. So I always tell people, like I said on the show yesterday with El Wapo, that indifference is synonymous to well anyway. But when a man stops talking, then you're in trouble. Put it that way. As long as men are talking, that means that we still care. But indifference is the opposite of hate. Actually, once a person's indifferent, they don't care. Do what you want to do. And I think you begin to see a subset of men that are becoming indifferent because they feel like that the more men speak, you have a brigade of women that will try to censor them, shame them, or more or less reduce what they're saying to assuage their rebellious and their toxic ego. So keep it, you should be happy. The women should be happy, to the good sisters that are listening. You should be happy as long as the men are still talking. But a time is coming when the men are going to stop talking. And I think it's slowly but surely beginning to creep in there. Men are becoming frustrated. And they're getting sick of the dating options. That's why they're looking for women abroad. Not because they necessarily want to go abroad. They want sisters here in America if they can find them. But they feel like the percentage of quality women is getting harder and harder to find. And then they don't know if the woman is genuine. Is she a chameleon? Is she faking it? Is she just more or less being something till you put the ring on her finger? And many men are saying, I can't invest half of my life earnings and savings and my future on a woman that's going to take me to the cleaners. So men got to feel protected too, but you have to protect this ego, as I said earlier.
And I do agree. That mansplaining term is so annoying because what is it? And I hear that a lot. If a man was supposed to voice his opinion or to give constructive criticism to a woman, then it's like, oh, you're intimidated by us, or oh, you're afraid of, you can't handle us. If I come across a few female content creators who are strong in their masculine, and many in the comments will say, oh, you're leading a lot in your masculine energy, and then a bunch of women will just attack him, without really sitting down and reflecting and asking if that's true. Right. When you said that when a man becomes indifferent, he stop talking, do you see that's happening? Well, yeah, we do see, because we see the men traveling abroad, but at what rate do you see that happening? Is it something where we as Black women who want to be married should start like panicking?
No, it's no need to panic. There's still a remnant of men, just like there's a remnant of women that are, because see, listen, the portion of men that can travel is very minute. I think less than 5% of Black Americans have passports. So, you don't have this great exodus of Black men that are traveling, but many men are beginning to exercise their options. You have groups like SYSBM, that's predicated on saving yourself, Black man. You got introspective Black men of reform. That's called IPMOR. And so William Glasser talked about a condition, it's in psychoanalytic theory it's called choice theory. And choice theory is predicated on the needs that men are not getting. Glasser identified 5 prevailing principles. He said it was more or less, it was freedom, fun, belonging, power, and survival. When a person is not getting their needs met, Chantelle, they'll begin to look for needs outside of themselves. He came up with an intervention term called reality therapy. And so I think many men are beginning to wake up and say, listen, I make bad choices, but I got to own my choice. And then I got to recalibrate myself and get with women that are going to get with my program and live my best life. Because watch this, your time on this earth is limited. Every year you waste chasing after vainglory is a detriment to the progress of a man. So I think many men now are beginning to wake up. They're beginning to self-internalize. They're beginning to love themselves, because I think Black men for so long have had very low self-esteem and low standards, because they never had power brokers, which are strong fathers, to tell them, son or boy, you deserve better, and here's the blueprint to get the kind of woman that you want. So I do believe that you're having a silent revolution. I got a show coming on tonight called SYSBM Mutiny, and mutiny basically means rebellion. And so, it's about a 30-minute show that I uploaded, and it will explain why some of the men are actually doing what they're doing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, thank you for clarifying that. Guys, as you guys coming, please don't forget to like this live stream. Dane, Game Changer, I see you guys. UFO, I see you guys in the chat. Thank you guys so much for showing up and sharing your Sunday afternoon with me. I have TKC, all right, Mr. Kosher, here with me, and it's a really powerful and needed conversation. He's a licensed therapist, and we don't see a lot of Black male licensed, red, pale, aware licensed therapists. Right. So you're rare. So we do need you in your space, and we appreciate you even having a channel to educate us, to help us to bring awareness.
Well, a lot of these gyms are free now. I was joking last night. At some point, it's going to be in Patreon. So
I don't mean
enjoy it
that.
for as
I
long
don't.
as you can.
And I don't blame you because it is rare. And I even in knowing the importance of a therapist, um, it's is as important to get a therapist as it's important to get the right therapist.
That's
And
it. Right.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. And a therapist that knows our issues in the Black community, that's not brainwashed by the feminist movement, and
Mhm.
that actually wants to push the narrative, the two-parent households narrative, the healing, the becoming the best version of yourself narrative forward is extremely rare. So
Mhm.
I am grateful I found you, and I'm sure everybody else who is in need of your service
No doubt.
will be
Likewise.
grateful for that. Let's talk about the whole self-sufficient part of the conversation. What's the difference between being independent and being self-sufficient?
Well, listen, independent and self-sufficient really are just correlates of one another. When you look it up in the dictionary, the synonym self-sufficient and independent really means the same thing. But it's really the negative connotation and the vibe that it carries. It's the energy that it carries. When you say I'm strong and independent, it almost sounds very brutish, like, I'm strong, I'm the man, I don't need you. Versus a woman saying, I'm going to be soft and self-sufficient, meaning I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of while I'm preparing for my man. When you look at the edicts of the gospel said that the bride prepared herself, Chantelle, for the bridegroom. The bridegroom was a type of Christ. So what the woman did, she prepared herself by being conscious, by being chaste, by being aware, by being, purified in heart and mind, as she was anticipating her future king. So a woman that's soft and self-sufficient means she has the skill set or the accoutrements to do some of the things that she needs to do until she become interdependent with her man. She should become interdependent with her man, like an interlocking circle. When you think about the ring, Chantelle, you see the ring between when the man and woman have their nuptials. The ring is an interlocking circle, right? And so that symbolizes interdependence, similar to the Godhead. It's called the triarch. And so when a man and a woman is coalescing together, she's interdependent with her man. I've always said that he's her strength and she's his weakness, and so her strengths are his weaknesses, and his weaknesses are her strengths. And so she more or less capitalizes on bringing out the best in him as a man. She's in tune with herself. She understands the nature of a masculine man, and so she knows how to use her feminine allure to calibrate that man to become the best version of himself. She's literally his cheerleader. She's his get up and go. And most women years ago knew how to harness that. Now, of course, men wanted to be genuine. We don't want you, acting like you love it just to get a provision protection. We want women that are genuine in their pronouncements as it relates to more or less loving their man. Men want a woman that's going to be his ride or die, do thick or thin, better or for worse, sickness or health. And I know it's hard, especially the sickness and health part. How many women can say I can love my man if he became impotent? So you have to laugh. So, I see you laughing. But like I said earlier, that's how men feel. The man wants to know, can she protect my ego? Will she be going behind my back on Instagram, texting guys or on Facebook? Because, there's a such thing called soft infidelity. You might not have had sex with the dude, but if you're texting guys and entertaining them, men are highly offended by that. And, and women are the same. So that answers your question.
Mm-hmm. I definitely answer my question. Thank you for that. And I think that even the whole energy behind saying strong and independent, it's completely different from saying soft and I'm sorry, the energy behind saying I'm independent compared to the energy saying, you're self-sufficient. Do you think with the programming of being independent prevents many of us Black women from actually pairing up with men and being in healthy relationship as opposed to if we were self-sufficient?
Well, as I said, once again, self-sufficient and independence really mean the same thing. It means the same thing, but the word independent carries a more brutish connotation. So to answer your question, I think when women begin to emote or project, I'm strong and tough, that's negative polarity for a man. A man wants a woman that makes him feel needed. Men are at their best when they feel needed. Women years ago had the soft skills, Chantelle, to get the kind of man that they wanted. one of the things she would do, she would drop her handkerchief as a way to let the man know that, hey, I want you to pick it up and introduce yourself. And so, that's a way that, women, that was a woman's way to let the man know through assertion that, listen, I'm feeling you. Animals do it, they use certain things to let the male know that they want to, copulate. But I think so many of our women use this crazy connotation, the thinking era of magnification. They'll say, I want you, but I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. And so that's an oxymoron to a man. And so, but then men are saying, well, then why the hell are you with me then? Because, if that's how you feel, we'll just give you sex and we'll keep it moving. And so, like I said, a lot of it is tied to vicarious trauma, Chantelle, and a lot of our women willingness to look at themselves through self-introspection. Because, see, what you're doing is very brave. Women like yourself, they'll try to shame you. They call you mammies, pick-me's, whatever, to try to shame you back into silence. And it takes a woman of courage and conviction to speak truth to power and more or less stand firm in her convictions, where so many women are come against women like yourself. So I salute you for taking a firm stand and trying to more or less look within yourself and try to become the best version of yourself for your future king.
Thank you. I appreciate that. When you said that, it's very confusing to a man when a woman said, I want you, but I don't need you. When honestly, that was our programming, never be too available, never be too soft and needy to your man. So always give off that that impression, that belief that, he's optional and he's easily replaceable. So that's something that men look at as dysfunctional.
It's very dysfunctional, because in other cultures, I don't think women admit that. But see, feminism is what's called a first world issue. In third world countries, the men and women need each other. They work together because they ain't got no other choice. There was a time when black men and black women worked together. There was a time when black families were more intact than any other ethnic group, because we were beasts of the same burden. Black men and black women struggled together. We knew the peril and the struggles of Jim Crow racism, pre-antebellum slavery, and also post-antebellum slavery. We knew about the ravages of our soldiers, our black men going to fight in World War I and World War II, only to be treated as second-class citizens, and also to be victims of what's called redlining, also being discriminated against for jobs. So our women were more or less conditioned to more or less respect and honor their men. But there was a time, too, where the epigenesis to the black family was the church. The church was a pure safe haven that kept black folks strong and intact, and we were at our best. But now, because of secularization, because of liberal indoctrination, you're beginning to see a cesspool. And it's not just the black community. I think it's the American fabric in itself. It's coming apart from its shreds, and now you begin to see the chickens coming home to roost because of the social chaos and the dysfunction that you're beginning to see permeating now here in America, in my opinion.
Come on, jackass. This is sick. Can I get a cold drink?
Only in theaters.
Great. I myself have to rewatch this live stream when it's done, because you're just dropping a lot of information. Guys, if you haven't already, please go ahead and like this live stream. I am joined by TKC, Mr. Kosher. He has a channel, mods. Can you please drop the link to his channel in the description box? A lot of gems being dropped, a lot of awareness, things to make us aware, because at the end of the day, and I'm not making excuses, I'm not trying to not hold black women accountable, but a lot of times, if we don't know it, that there's nothing, we can't fix what we don't know that needs to be fixed.
Right. I totally agree. Many of our women were compromised. Many were told a lie. They were told by liberal policies, many times liberal white women, that your men oppressed you. And as I said earlier, black men never had the power at the macro level, which is the policy level, to oppress black women. We were mules of the same cause. Now watch this. Domestic issue, Chantelle, is endemic to all ethnic groups. White men were complicit in sometimes domestic issues due to job loss, due to post-traumatic stress, due to a myriad of issues. Indian men, every other ethnic group, you hail from the country of Jamaica. I'm sure there were domestic issues in Jamaica, but however, we tend to put black men under a negative light like we were these boogeymen or monsters that more or less just beat the hell out of our women and just, got them pregnant and ran off. We always cast type black men as Mr. off the color purple. And it's left a very negative imprint on the psyche of many black men. But on the counterpart, black men, when they travel abroad, many times women actually love black men. Black men are well loved and reverenced around the world. There are some negative connotations associated with black men, but by and large, other ethnic groups find black men appealing, especially ADOS men, because ADOS men have been through more, in my opinion, than any other ethnic group of men. We've been through the struggle, we've been through the pain. We built this country, and we are the greatest crooners of music and also athletics. Think about a person, Chantelle, or any other ethnic group that were part of the African diaspora that was more or less seen as 3/5 human, but also they were more or less subjects of what's called chattel slavery. You tell me another group of ethnic Africans that went through what American blacks have went through, and I'll give you the Nobel Peace Prize, because no other ethnic group has been through what American or ADOS black men have been through. No other ethnic group, because even in other countries that were colonialized by Brits or Spaniards or Portuguese, their cultures were still pretty much intact. They were still able to more or less use their culture. Black people in America, especially black men, we were stripped of our culture. We were stripped of our identities. But guess what? But we still rose from the ashes like a phoenix. In spite of, we took a lot of damage. A lot of black men went to the grave with post-traumatic stress, depression, and as Langston Hughes said, dreams deferred. But, but black men are very resilient. Black men love their women. How many other ethnic groups do you hear calling their women queens? I don't know. You don't hear Asian men calling their women queens. You don't hear white men calling their women queens. But black men do, because black men have genuinely been very loyal to their women. But there's a silent movement emerging, and black men are beginning to speak up, and they're beginning to say, enough is enough. It's time to do me.
I must give ADOS black men their credit. You're so right. And then I did a video the other day, sleeping with the enemy, and I got a lot of comments in that, being immigrant, we still have this feminist movement, the agenda, strong, independent, don't need your man. However, there is an underlying hate that I see from ADOS black women towards ADOS black men. I don't see that in other cultures. I don't see that in my culture, that there's a hatred women in America have for black men. Wherever that stemmed from, that is something you guys have to endure. And it's like, sleeping with the enemy, because you guys do love black women and you do want to pair up with black women, but there seems to just be a disconnect there. I see Tim in the chat. Shout out to Tim. I know Tim is one of your moderators,
that's my homie.
A really great moderator.
Tim is, that's my homie.
Shout out to Tim and everybody who has been supporting the live stream. Thank you guys so much. I haven't been reading it because I don't want to break the flow, but I appreciate you guys' support so much. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the like button. I want to touch on the soft parts of soft and self-sufficient, because we have strong and independent. And if we're going to look at strong, then we're going to say the opposite of strong is weak. And it's common in our community. If you ever want to cater to your man, if you ever want to be a pick-me, shout out to the pick-me's in the chat. I see y'all. If you ever want to be a pick-me to your man, or even wash, cook, clean, cater to your man, you're considered weak. You're considered a doormat. You're considered 1950s. Let's talk about the soft part of the soft and self-sufficient, and what does that look like? And hey, Dane, I don't know if I said hey to Dane earlier, but shout out to Dane.
Well, the soft part, I think I've talked about it partially earlier, Chantelle. I think the soft part is a woman that's in tune with her soft skills. She's in tune with how to enunciate and speak to her man. A woman that's soft is a woman that knows how to be silent, but also she knows when to speak, and she knows how to be silent. What men and women don't understand is that silence sometimes is your greatest virtue. Women of old knew that. A lot of times the women of old were able to manipulate their men by making that man think he was in control through her silence. But our women tend to project like, I'm strong, I'm going to go toe to toe with you, because what women don't understand, when you project aggressive energy to a man, you're putting yourself at risk for domestic violence. And so a soft woman is a woman that's a listener. She's very in tune with what a man needs. She's more in tune with her nurturing, because, as I said earlier, a soft woman is a very nurturing woman. She knows how to speak life into her man. She knows how to harness the masculine energy. When you think about Beauty and the Beast was very ravenous when he was angry. But that woman that was in her femininity and she was soft, she was able to harness that negative energy of the beast. She was able to whisper into his ear, and she would calm that beast through her music and through the music of her femininity. And so I think a lot of our women lost that art because they thought that being serving a man made them weak. But here's the paradox, Chantelle, because women say that cooking and cleaning means damn 1950. Then okay, well, fine. Men are saying, if I got to take a bullet if somebody break in the house, that's servitude. If I got to change the tire when the car breaks down, that's servitude. If I got to change the oil and do all the maintenance and cut the grass, that's servitude. So men are saying, if you feel like cooking me a meal makes you a slave, then what do I need you for? Because watch this, in fair exchange, Chantelle Simone, there is no robbery. There is no robbery in fair exchange. And so what men are saying is that, what am I getting from a woman that expects to receive because she's insular and I'm constantly giving? So in a nutshell, a feminine woman is in tune with her soft skills. She's in tune with understanding the masculine ego. And she's a woman that's careful with her words because her words can be offensive to her man. She's a woman that's a planner. She's a woman that's very judicious. She's a woman that has vision. She's a woman that has foresight. She's a woman that knows about the feminine touch of a woman. And she knows how to set the tone for the home, because I've always said the woman sets the tone and the tone determines what the mood of the house is going to be. What's his name? Can't think of his name. He was a singer. What's the guy's name? Luther Vandross said that a home is a house is not a home. And so women set the power to more or less set the vibration for the home. But watch this. When they're not getting it, men are saying, damn it, I'm going to get it from somewhere else. And so when I'm telling you, men are getting tired of the shenanigans. And once again, it's a byproduct of liberal indoctrination that was more or less transposed to our women, which in essence taught them not to be in congruence and alliance with their men, but to fight their men. Our women, since Lyndon B. Johnson, since the Great Society, we were on an upward trajectory. Black families were doing great. But after the Lyndon B. Johnson Great Society, we've been going downhill ever since, because we felt that the white woman's problems were the black woman's problems. And they never were, because white men have always had power at the macro level. They've always had the power to emote and fix problems. Black men didn't. We just got in when we fit in, if that makes sense.
I know you drop gems. Every time I turn off, I unmute my mic, I'm like, oh, it's a lot of gems. I said the same thing every time. I appreciate you so much. AM1 said he's fitting. I know, guys. Please drop the link to his channel in the chat. And
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, let's kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch.
Okay, we're not even.
You call me every night, you call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say,
those of us who actually want to do better, and we have to forgive ourselves for the things we didn't know.
Tell them run it on.
We didn't know what we didn't know. So we have to forgive ourselves and then do the work.
Yeah.
I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check, no drip this, wet. Tell them run it up, no sleep, no rest, might crash, might wreck, but first die, stretch, tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check, no drip this, wet. Tell them run it up, no sleep, no rest, might crash, might wreck, but first die, stretch, tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies.